No matter whether it's here in the YouTube comment section or live when I'm on Twitch, I am constantly asked, how do you know what to do against the 3-2 defense? So in today's YouTube video, I'm going to break down the defense that everyone runs online from every angle, how you know which blitz is coming, and how to attack this from a coverage perspective as well. You guys are going to get it from both sides here. Just hit the subscribe button and notification bell. I'm sorry for that. Let's get after it. Now, when we talk about the 3-2 defense, this is far and away the most popular defense you will face online. And this is nothing new, as Dollar, as it was formerly known, has always been the most popular defense in the game. Because of its spacing with those slot corners, especially with the baseline feature in Madden, this has always stopped the run in ways that have annoyed a lot of players that are run first, myself included. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna show you guys how to set this up from a defensive point of view, and we'll attack it from an offensive point of view as well. So starting with our coach suggestions, this defense, if you're going to do the double safety walkdown, is going to be baseline on. The reason for this is that when we audible into the other plays after choosing the double walk down, you don't want other players moving. So we want this baseline feature on. Then from there, let's set our audibles. There are two main plays that players like to blitz out of, and those are going to be cover 4 quarters, as well as the cover 4 drop. So make sure that those two plays are in your audibles. The different types of blitzes that we'll go over here momentarily, you'll want one play for one and another for the other. So from there, up to you, whatever other audibles you want. I think a lot of players out there still utilize edge blitz, which is an edge loop as well. So we'll talk about that. And then a lot of players will also run that DB fire meta as well, where they have that double slot. So I would say most players probably use these 4 audibles, but they're going to live in probably the 2 blitzes we're going to break down most here in this video. We are going to be running the double safety go. And the reason that we do this is that the safeties will walk down to the line of scrimmage to get closer for their blitz angles on this play, even though we're not going to stay in this play. Once the huddle is broken, these safeties are going to walk down, and we are going to audible into one of 2 blitzes. The first one is going to be cover 4 quarters. The other one would be cover 4 drop. And of course, we'll be making a setup for the cover 4 drop because this isn't a stock blitz. Now, with this particular walk down, no matter what defense we are in, we'll start with cover 4 quarters. They are going to move this linebacker over. This linebacker is blitzing almost every single play. And then from there, they are going to have Ted Hendricks, this linebacker here, as their user. And the user is going to go stand over the offensive guard. And the reason that players will do this is because they want to disguise this blitz with the blitz we're about to break down next. Now, as it pertains moving this linebacker, depending on who you have, there's a lot of players out there who will say, oh, I like this guy, he loops better. In the dollar, this might be something of importance because you'll notice that certain player are, builds are a little bit clunkier, a little bit bigger. They loop a little bit less sharp. So you might have to fine tune your placement based off of who it is. But generally speaking, the area that you slide them to is kind of about there, give or take 4 or 5 yards off the ball, kind of hovering over the B gap. And then your user is down here really aggressive over the outside shoulder of the guard. When the ball is snapped, this guy is going to loop all the way around into the A gap and come in clean for a sack, sending only 4. So top down view here, we take a look. The reason this works is because we're hugging that guard. This makes the center and the right guard have to kind of kick over. Then that blitz angle that we slid across the formation is able to get around that guy. He's not agile enough to recover. So if your opponent does nothing and they send 5 guys out, this is going to be a sack pretty much every single time. Now, the other blitz that players are going to run is going to be the cover 4 blitz. They still come out of the double safety walk down. They're going to pull up their audible menu and they're going to audible into cover 4 drop. Now, right here, this is where you're still going to move this guy over, and then you're going to blitz him. You're still going to click onto the other linebacker and move down over this guard. Now, remember, in our last example, we stood over this guard's outside shoulder, and that was for the purpose of getting the offensive line to look our way. In this particular blitz, the blitzer that we are going to be running is going to be running through the gap rather than looping around. So with this, what players will do is they will oftentimes shade their coverage down so it's hard flats, and then they're going to run into the guard and then peel back in coverage. And this creates a left side pressure that is a good complement to the right side pressure. For the majority of you out there, you guys know this. This is what we face, I would say 8 out of 10 games, maybe even 9 out of 10 games online. But for those of you that are new to the game, maybe this is news to you guys. And if it is, I would strongly urge you guys to check out my strategy website, gridirongameplans.gg. because while we do videos like this where we're going to take a full look, Gridiron Game Plans is the best place to get better at Madden and also college football in the moment. Our vault, which is updated weekly, is focused on the meta, or the most effective tactics available. And this meta has been around since basically November. Back in November, we talked about all the different angles for this defense, and we had our players on their way to running this defense well, as well as countering it whenever they face it online. And that is the importance of the vault. With this being updated weekly, you guys are getting fresh content curated especially for you, tuned to the tricks that everybody is running online and the trends that change, yes, even into the summer months of Madden and college football. In addition to that, you guys get all game plans at no additional cost and access to our members Discord, where we have lab sessions every single week. It's far and away the best deal in the tip space. $9.95 a month unlocks the entire website. $14.95 if you guys also want to bundle college football tips in addition to Madden. So that is the general rule for running these two blitzes. Now, of course, there are other blitzes that players will audible into off of the walkdown, such as the edge blitz meta. Again, with this is still going to be a pretty simple thing. Players are going to change this into a cover 4 hard flat style defense, and they're just going to kind of hope that it comes in. Now, this defense has kind of fallen out of favor because of the fact that most players like to move this guy across to the other side. But if you're ever looking for a decent loop pressure, this can be okay. It's not, you know, the best blitz in the game, but it does come in from time to time, and it's still a good shedding defense. And in addition to that as well, a lot of players will also mix in the DB fire, albeit cover 2 from this look is not a wise call, so you'll have to make some adjustments. Again, a lot of players will kind of take chances and turn this defense into something else, or you know, if they want to use the other linebacker, they might run it like this, or sometimes they'll play, you know, hybrid coverages like so, and they're just trying to get that edge pressure, especially when they're banking on your opponent thinking that, you know, you're actually running the loop or the ram blitz, and then you snap the ball and it ends up being DB fire off the edge, and you're surprised by that. So again, those are kind of the 4 blitzes that you'll run into, but again, the big ones are going to be the crossfire loop and the ram blitz that we've already covered. Now let's talk about, from an offensive perspective, the things that we need to know about this defense. We're going to start off with the first one. The first one is that with this particular walkdown, the safeties do not get back or play any zone other than an inside quarter well. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to audible into edge blitz 3, and I'm going to not make changes to my safety on the left. And I want you to watch what occurs if I were to just run a simple streak on this play. So if I were to just set up a sideline flood with that middle streak, I'm going to be able to snap this ball and throw this clean over this guy's head. He does not get back fast enough, and I'm able to, if I have good speed after the catch, run that in for a touchdown. The same thing can be said of deep halves. Let's say, for instance, we audible into that DB fire, and I were to run that exact same type of thing here. You're going to notice here that if I just put a streak on the field, I'm going to make sure that I block this blitz here. Again, focusing on the safety primarily, you're going to be able to run right by him. I mean, he gets absolutely cooked over the top in a deep half, and the only thing saving you is a deep zone KO. So those safeties do not get back fast enough to guard streaks from a slot receiver or a compressed receiver or even a tight end in a lot of cases. So basically, whenever you face this, you know, those safeties have to be in an inside quarter or manned up on somebody. And again, if you get somebody that isn't manned up on a streak, you're still going to have a touchdown. So this is the big thing that you have to know about this. The other thing about this is that people are lazy. And what I mean by that is this is twofold. When they run this defense, most players don't adjust their coverage. They are adjusting into a cover 4 quarters. They're shading it down into a hard flat defense. So you know you're basically getting this coverage out of this blitz when they drag this guy across. And again, this guy comes down here. Or you're going to get the other blitz where it looks like this. From a coverage perspective, these are the exact same coverages with different blitzes up front. One intended for the right A gap, the other for the left B gap. So from an offensive point of view, we know that we can just go out there and attack them with certain route combos, which I have done videos on how to attack this meta before here on the channel, but I'll break down a few here in a moment. This is super easy stuff. The other thing with this is that people are lazy with their actual blitz setup. So what I'm going to do to kind of explain this, you'll notice this when you play everyone online that runs this, except for maybe the best of the best pros. There are two common mistakes people will make. The first one is that they will bring this linebacker over when they're doing the crossfire, and then they will bring the user down like this. This is fine. This is the way it's set up. But then when they run the other blitz, they are going to make this mistake, which is they will blitz this guy and they will move this guy down into this spot. Now, the thing is, if your opponent is going to do this, that means that it is only one blitz. It's not a crossfire. Now, don't get me wrong. I do guess you could, in theory, run the edge loop with this look as well, but nobody online runs it like this. Nobody does. You'll run into maybe 1 out of 100 players that's smart enough to do this. But I'm going to tell you, if you make this mistake, I'm capitalizing on this every single time, because I know when you take the guy that's on the right side and you mug with him, that the left guy is either blitzing straight or he's blitzing on a loop angle 1 out of 100 times. Okay, so don't make that mistake. The other lazy mistake a lot of players will make when they run these blitzes is that their hover is lazy. So basically what I'm talking about is when somebody runs the quarters loop, where they drag this guy across on this blitz angle and they put him here, a lot of times they'll get super lazy, meaning that they'll just kind of hover right here. This tells me that they're running the cross loop 100 out of 100 times, because the ram blitz really requires that you get up in their grill like this. So when I see somebody hovering like this, I know that even if they try to run the ram blitz, it's going to be a really crummy version of it that's probably not going to come in clean anyways. So I don't have to respect it. When they come down here and they mug like this, I have to be prepared for the ram blitz and I have to be prepared for the crossfire blitz at the exact same time. So that is a big difference in my mind. I know when I've got somebody good when they're down here every single time mixing it up. I know I've got somebody lazy that I'm going to be very easily beating. And chances are, if they're lazy with this, they're lazy with their coverage setups too. And I'm going to be able to just manipulate this all day long. Now, when you're lazy with this loop, again, it's not the end of the world. A lot of times this still comes in clean, and that's why players are lazy with it. But again, if I were to come out here and run that same lazy approach here, where I put this guy there, and then I'm coming down here and I'm running the ram blitz out of this I don't have to respect, because again, you're not really going to be able to, it's just too, it gives you too long and you run into each other and it's not good. It's not clean, if you will. So again, I know probably 9 times out of 10 which blitz you're in if you're a lazy player. And that's going to be a major deal as you guys learn to pay attention to how your opponents play pre-snap. A lot of times too, you can pick up tells based off of, you know, how your opponent sets up their defense. Sometimes they take a little bit longer to move their linebacker, and you can kind of correlate that to a coverage-based defense. Sometimes they move their linebacker right away and you're like, oh yeah, they're really making sure that they want to get pressure because they are first and foremost getting into position. That way, if they get quick snap, they're still in a position where the blitz works and their coverage might not be able to get exposed because you're still getting that pressure, as I mentioned. So keep those things in mind. Pay attention to how lazy they are, how long it takes them to move people. Those things are really, really important. But that's all pre-snap stuff. But we're not quite done with the pre-snap actually, because I'm going to show you guys how to block this. And it doesn't matter which blitz you're facing, because you're going to be able to do a command that is super, super simple, and it applies to every formation in the game. So whenever your opponent does this here, what you're going to do is you are going to block your running back, and you are going to half slide away from the side that they are standing on. So we got this user standing over the left guard. If they're standing over the left guard with their user, you half slide right. And you see right away what that HB logo does. It goes straight to that looper. So in this case, this looper is running right to him. Now let's go ahead and set up the other blitz real quick. If I were to audible into cover 4 and instead run the blitz like so. So you see that set up. Again, my pass protection does not change. Even when I do the ram and I run into the guard, this guy slides across. And then from there, we're making our read. Okay. Let's talk about just a few things that we can do to kind of get a better idea of how to attack this defense. We've already mentioned, we know the safeties are in inside quarters. If they're doing anything other than that, streaks. You got to throw streaks against this defense in the slot, because if those safeties are playing outside thirds, middle thirds, deep halves, you can lob them over the top. They run way too slow to guard streaks. Okay. That's first and foremost. Let's talk about the underneath stuff. The underneath stuff, and again, I have done videos, like long videos, giving you lots of route combos, so make sure you guys check out the other stuff here on the channel. But I'm going to give you two that I'm a big fan of, and they're very, very similar. So what I like to do is I like to run a running back streak, and I'm going to skip the whole walk down thing here. I like to do a running back streak out of the backfield with a tight end flat. This is a really, really good one because all you have to do on the other side is stress that low left area of the field. And with this play, whips, that's like perfect for me because I can just quite literally run a flood to this side of the field and use this whip route. And depending on whether or not your opponent is ram blitzing or running the loop, they still have to guard both low seams. So in the case of this, if they jump out over here, it's just a bullet pass streak. That's wide open. And if you have a running back that breaks tackles, that's actually death for a lot of opponents. And of course, if they want to set up the blitz and go the other direction, so like, let's say for instance that they, guard the running back out of the backfield with this, then of course, with this, you are still going to throw the whip. So if they go over to that side, it's just bang, throw that whip in the middle of the field, and you're up the field pretty easily. If you don't have a play like this, whips, you could use hitches, you can use curls that you smart route down to a certain depth. You can run other concepts as well. Here's one more that you can run from a spread set. So I'm intentionally going to get out of this, this compression-based offense I'm in pretty much every video. And let's do this out of like a trips look. So again, here with this, what we're going to be doing is audibling into this. Doesn't matter which blitz it is, ram blitz or otherwise. They're going to set this up, pay attention to how lazy their hover is, pay attention to that they're always, mugging the guard with the linebacker on that side. Pay attention to those things. But again, the big one is it's cover 4 based. This one's a little bit easier. What we're going to do is we are going to stress out of a spread set the flat with our middle receiver. Then from there, we are going to put our outside receiver on a drag, or you could use an in route that you could also, smart route or custom stem to be a little bit deeper, a little bit shorter, however quick you want to hit that little pocket that we're going to hit. You'll understand here in a moment. And then from there, it's up to you. I would probably pair this with that streak flat combo on the other side, and then whatever you want to do with the B receiver. But again, the point here with this is that you're going to have that guy that goes to the flat, and then bang, you hit this route over the middle, and we got a terrible diving whiff animation right there. But you can see how this operates as well. In this example, what we're doing is we are stressing the flat defender differently by sending this guy to the flat and then having somebody outside break inside. You see that this is a lot of turf to throw to. A lot of players will throw this very, very quickly, and I don't know why we got this catch animation, but very much so open. That's a great one as well. Another one that players like to run, and this one is going to rely on you actually reading the user a little bit more effectively, is going to be the slant post combo. And even with a setup where the safety is super low, again, what we're going to do is we are going to be able to run him off with a streak. And then you might put this guy on a post and this guy on a slant. Of course, you could always use a smoke screen, whatever you want to do on the outside to hold that flat zone defender. Again, what ends up happening on this is we have to respect it from an offensive point of view with our running back. So we do our slide protection away, block him. And then when they do this ram blitz, it's like, okay, well, are they guarding the slant? Are they guarding the post? You make your read accordingly. Now, again, this blitz is still very, very good. One of the things that I actually recommend doing, going back to the defensive lens, is so many players I know like to run safeties at this spot. Better for coverage purposes, faster, maybe a little bit more agile. But one of the things that I like to do with this, granted, I run the 1-4, not the 3-2, but it's the same principle, is I like to use these kind of, I don't know what you would call it. They're basically big pass rushers that have good coverage skills rather than cover guys that are fast, because when your opponent picks it up, you're going to get that shed because you've got a guy with like 99 finesse move. If you guys are playing ultimate team. Now, if you guys are playing regs, I would probably recommend using the safeties because linebackers without lurk artists don't animate in coverage. So you're probably stuck on that regardless. But from a MUT perspective, pretty big opportunity for you guys to run, a Peppers or a Ted Hendricks or somebody that's like a guy that they made super tall, super fast, good coverage skills, and is primarily a pass rusher, as opposed to maybe somebody like a Buda Baker who's, really, really quick, really, really agile, corners super well on the loops, can fit through the tight lanes on the blitz angles, but doesn't shed people when they actually know how to pick it up. So again, you can kind of play this or that with that, but that is how we talk about the 3-2. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I wanted to do a top-down overview of a formation. You know, this is how 90% of people online run this, and you can beat it with just this mindset. It's that simple. It's a very good defense, especially when you add in your switch stick element to this. A lot of players will just sit in this all game long and switch stick and rely on their own reaction post snap to know who to click onto and how to bait things and pick up on your tendencies. But again, most players are going to run this, and if they don't have a great switch stick, it's actually very, very beatable. And I hope that this helped you guys out. If it did, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and consider checking out gridirongameplans.gg. I'll have a short for you guys later this afternoon, and I will see you tomorrow. Until then, this is Zan. Good lab and good luck.